saved up. I was going to go. Yeah.
Okay, today is the 5th of April, 2011. We are at the American Legion Post in Margaretville, New York. My name is Wayne Clark. I'm with the New York State Military Museum in Saratoga Springs, New York. Sir, for the record, would you please state your full name and date and place of birth, please?
My name is Howard B. Etts. I was born in Fleischmanns, New York, June the 10th, 1918.
Did you attend school there?
No, my mother and father moved here to Margaretville when I was 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in this area. I went to school. I graduated from Margaretville High School.
Do you recall what year you graduated?
1937. Things were kind of slow then. There wasn't that much work around. And I went to Albany to enlist in the Air Force.
Mm-hmm. And this was what year?
1937.
37, okay.
I wanted to be a fighter pilot.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to fly. And I went up to Albany, up to the Army recruiting station, and after everything was over, they said, "You're not what we're looking for." And I came home, and a friend of mine had a job working on a North freighter on the Great Lakes,
Mm-hmm.
and he told me how to go about going out there and getting a job on the lakes. I left here in 1938 and went out to South Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
to the Lake Carriers Association, and I got my seaman's book, and I was eligible to work on a North freighter, and I shipped out I worked for Pickens and Mather PM line out of South Chicago.
And now this was on the Great Lakes.
This was on the Great Lakes. I registered for the draft in 1940. At that time when I was supposed to register, I was right out in the middle of Lake Erie.
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't register until we got up in Duluth. It was about two and a half days later.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, when I saw my rotation going into service, I was the next to the last one in Delaware County. So I knew I'd continue work on a freighter.
Now, what was your job on the freighter?
I was a porter, washed dishes and first porter,
Mm-hmm.
and helped at the galley.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a nice clean job, and we moved all over. It's a beautiful country. Anyone should see the Great Lakes. They don't realize what a beautiful country this is.
Now, you mentioned you were on the Great Lakes when you heard about the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Yes, yeah, we were up in Duluth, Minnesota. We'd started loading, and it took rough 2 hours and a half load sometimes, depends. And we were headed from there. We would go down to, I think we were going to Erie, Pennsylvania, or Ashtabula, one of those ports, to unload.
Mm-hmm. Now, what were you carrying? What kind of cargo?
Iron ore.
Iron ore.
Iron ore. There was different kinds of iron ore. We used to took one trip to Wickwire plant in east of Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
You go right up through the Welland Canal, up the river, and you come within, I think, 14 miles of Niagara Falls.
Uh-huh.
And that Wickwire plant used to take a special ore, and it was really nice, nice job.
Mm-hmm.
See a lot of the country,
Yeah.
and met a lot of guys.
So you were telling me about hearing about Pearl Harbor. Was this on the radio you heard?
Yeah, I heard that. I had one of the Zenith portable radios.
Uh-huh.
I bought off. It used to be a little they used to call it a bumboat. You just come along the side, latch up the side of the ship sometime when we were in port, and they had all this stuff there they wanted to sell.
Mhm.
This radio, so this Zenith radio with a portable antenna, I bought it.
Uh-huh.
And I come back in my room after dinner, and I turned the radio on, and I had got the news of what happened in Pearl Harbor. And then, like I said, I was saving up money to get a new Chevy truck, and I knew from then I would be going back into the service.
Mhm. Now, did you get drafted?
Yeah, I was drafted. It's I had a perforated eardrum, didn't know it.
Uh-huh.
And of course, the Army knew it, and I was limited.
Now, when did you go into the service?
I went in July the 8th, 1942.
And you were drafted into the Army?
I was drafted into the Army.
And whereabouts were you drafted out of?
I come out of Utica.
Utica?
We went
Okay.
from Margaretville to Utica, and then from Utica, we went to Camp Upton, way out on the end of Long Island.
Yep.
And we was there, I think, 24 hours. And then I was shipped down to Camp Lee, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
We were there, I was there about six or 8 months. And we shipped to Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Now, at Fort Lee, did you receive infantry type training there?
No, this was a quartermaster.
Oh, I
school.
see. Okay.
Quartermaster school. We had the basic arm information to learn all the things with the rifle, good for
Mhm.
firing and stuff, manual arms,
Okay.
and military discipline, all that. We had the basic, and then they formed the 100th Division, and we were sent. A couple of us was come out of that quartermaster school, went down to Fort Jackson, and started the 800th Ordnance Company.
Mm-hmm.
And it was I think about 10 of us in that. And the equipment started coming in and everything else. Eventually, the 100th Division was formed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that fall, 43, we went into Tennessee maneuvers.
Okay.
And then we come back to Fort Bragg. Went to Fort Bragg and went in through another training cycle. And we shipped out to go overseas in October of 1944. We landed in Marseille, in the harbor of Marseille, and
Do you recall the name of the ship you crossed on?
yeah, the U.S. George Washington, it was a troop ship. There was 4,000 of us on that
Uh-huh.
ship.
Did you get seasick at all?
No,
No.
I did. I'd already had experience on the Great Lakes.
Oh, that's right.
And I
yeah.
know what it is about. It didn't bother
No.
me. And so the guys I was with, we got out in the Atlantic, and I felt this east wind in my face.
Mhm.
And I says to the guy, I said, we're gonna get a big storm, gonna get a big blow. And they didn't believe it. Well, we did. I mean, it was a small hurricane we went through. And they used to call me Old Salty after that.
Uh-huh. So you landed in Marseille.
Then in Marseille, the harbor was full of sunken ships.
Uh-huh.
It'd been bombed by the Germans. That was that's a French port.
Yep.
And we got off. I was glad to get off that ship because the Germans were bombing the Toulon naval base. That was a French base.
Yep.
The French fleet was in some of it was in Toulon, and we're out on the deck at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're bombing this French base. and they got the deck lights on, and first thing you hear, engineer on watch, pull the main switch. And it seemed like it was, an hour before they got that switch off, because the Germans bombing Toulon there was only about difference about 10 miles.
So you could see your lights.
They could see our lights, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were glad to get off that ship.
Yeah.
And we went over and landing Etts down to an LCI, and then we hit the beach, and we were on the beach, and well, it must have been 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
This was in the fall of 1944.
44, yeah.
Okay.
That's right. And we hiked about 6-8 miles, and we went out in this kind of field. We would sleep on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Woke up, it was raining, and we had the job of getting the equipment off the boat. That was that part. The 100th Division's equipment was all on the boat.
Uh-huh.
So my job was carrying gasoline and getting the cars as they run out of gas or whatever, stopped. It was my job to get them going again.
Now, were you driving like a tanker or something like that, or?
No, our division was 100th Infantry Division.
Mm-hmm.
We had armored, the 10th, 12th, or 14th Armored was attached to our division. So it was just a separate unit.
Uh-huh.
Armored was separate, and infantry was separate. And we was there a couple of days, got everything. And the thing you didn't notice was all the live ammunition laying around. You know, something had gone.
Yeah.
Someone who'd been through there. And we took off up the Rhone Valley, out through Lyons, Mont-de-la-Mer, Strasbourg. We're headed for Strasbourg.
Mm-hmm.
That was in the Vosges, the French sector. We were going to be on the end of the line with the French. The French would be on our right. And the 82nd Airborne, I think the 101st was on our left.
Mm-hmm. So if you were in Strasbourg, you were pretty close to Germany, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just was short ways across there.
Yeah.
And we went in there in the middle of the night, all blackout conditions. And it's strange. And well, we got orders to move into Baccarat. Baccarat, France is in the Vosges. It's a big black glass factory.
Mm-hmm.
They make all specialized glass. It's world known, it still is. And we got orders to go into that plant. And we had the whole company. I moved in blackout conditions. I was driving the Jeep. Fellow named McGrafton was on the hood with a white handkerchief under blackout conditions. If he wants you to turn left, you stick the left side with a handkerchief, and this is the way you steer.
Uh-huh.
And we got into that plant, come in the back way into the plant, had all the company in, and we was there about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. We got orders to get out. We had to vacate. There was a positive chance we're going to be completely surrounded, and so we got back out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And this was December the 6th. Now, the bulge didn't start until before Christmas.
Mm-hmm. What about your equipment at that time? I mean, your clothing and that, was it adequate? Did you have boots?
Yeah, at that time, it was in October.
Mm-hmm.
October and November. It wasn't, the weather wasn't that bad. We had the regular combat boots. Later on, we were issued the rubber bottoms and leather tops,
Okay.
like hunting boots. Like
Yep, yep.
And we were lucky. You got out. We could have lost the whole company.
Hmm.
The company was there's 140 men in the company, and very specialized people. They were very qualified people. We won. We were awarded the Presidential Unit Citation after it was over with.
Mhm. When was the first time you were under attack?
Well, we were back far enough we could see the flashes. We had flashes on 3 sides. We were almost completely surrounded.
Mhm.
And we find out all of this information that comes out years later. The infantry, the 397th Infantry from our division actually held their front. They was the only one that held, and it saved us.
Mhm.
And it's funny, I was in a little town of Single Finger. It's in Alsace-Lorraine. And the civilians knew more about what was going on than we did. It's funny. Half the time we never knew what was going on. And this one, when we got orders to put up the roadblocks, so we had two roadblocks up. They had logs and stuff from our engineers had dropped off, and we set up the roadblocks. I'm up on this field, and it was a beautiful day. And I had the funniest darn feeling to get out of there. And we moved out of there, and it was just a few minutes later, ME-109, a German pursuit plane, come in and dive bomb and hit the French. There was a French column moving.
Mhm.
Hit this French column, and there was 2 or 3 guys killed there with faces all blackened and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we were there, I guess, must have been 3 or 4 weeks. But we got reports that they dropped paratroopers behind us. And it was cold, the weather set in. There was 8 or 10 inches of snow on the ground.
Mhm.
And we got the report that they dropped the paratroopers, and we figured the best thing to go was looking for them during the daylight. And didn't want any flashlights around or anything.
Mhm.
So next one we put a crew out, made a big sweep. Didn't find them, but some of them had been found. They dropped. And we held. We're lucky. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Now, were you there for the Battle of the Bulge?
Yeah,
That was that part of it, or was?
we were the 100th Division, the 397th held.
Okay.
Held. There was the only one up there that really held, and they had us on 3 sides.
Mhm.
But
Were you dug into foxholes, or?
not so much. We had the roadblocks. We were back in different
Okay.
area. We had roadblocks up. Now, you have a roadblock, you always have rifle covering, you know, that'll, you know, they don't know where you are, and you don't know where they are.
Yeah.
And when they come through, a vehicle comes through, you challenge them. And Germans are very can't pronounce W's. So all the password and the countersign, we always had a W in it.
I see.
So they could tell when they challenge them, they're supposed to give the proper password.
Yeah.
And if they don't,
Now, were there any Germans that tried to sneak through?
no, if they did, they could have been. I thought afterwards, sometimes we saw the ambulances, the Red Cross or ambulances coming back. You know, there's a lot going on up there.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just let them through without challenging, especially Red Cross. Now, they could get a hold of a Red Cross ambulance, you know, same way, but, yeah. Well, there was, yes, it did a lot of soul searching,
Yeah.
I tell you, yeah.
Now, after you guys moved out of there, where did you go next?
Oh, let's see now, that was, we were in
That would have been around February or so.
February, January was, and December was the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the weather was a bad thing,
Yeah.
bad thing. And we couldn't get the airplanes out.
Right.
We didn't have that much cover until the weather changed, and then what a sight! You wouldn't believe the amount of airplanes that was in that area.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could see them going on the bombers going over, and vapor trails.
Now, did you get into the Hertigan Forest at all?
No.
No.
No, we went from, let's see, from there we went to Mannheim.
Uh-huh.
We crossed it, Mannheim. And sometimes I think, was I dreaming or wasn't I? I can remember seeing miles and miles and miles of vehicles going with the lights on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was true. Yeah.
What was it like crossing the Rhine?
I drove across with a Jeep. I had a couple of buddies with me. And it kind of like, it sinks down and it moves and it sinks down.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fairly smooth, the pontoon bridge. And then as we crossed the Rhine, it was a big, sort of a big plateau, like there was no trees, nothing, just. And the American, we had a couple of barrage bones over the bridge
Mm-hmm.
to protect it from dive bombers. And we set up there was an German and the aircraft area.
Mm-hmm.
We set up in there and we stayed there.
Were you meeting any resistance at all?
No,
No.
they broke through.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, where we went from there, we went up to, we went through the Ruhr. This was part of our job was looking for G2 intelligence equipment.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of sightings, and there's it was all different. It was all different, and most of their manufacturing and all this stuff was made in that rural area, and that was blown up pretty bad. I went in with 4 or 5 guys looking for their special equipment and anything that.
Was that when you looked in the building and you saw the flag with the swastika?
No, that was later on.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm just trying to put this together. We crossed the Rhine, and then went into the Ruhr. There'd been a big battle, tank battle, in there. It took 3 or 4 of our American tanks had been knocked out. Now they say that that the armor will hold shells.
Mm-hmm.
German shells will go right through it in our tank. I've seen where both of them hit. We've seen both turrets and right out the back.
Mm-hmm.
And we was in this one plant when there again we're looking advanced party. We're looking around, looking for G2 stuff, and it was started getting dark. So we were going to stay there in the same area. We go. The thing you do, you kind of hide yourself.
Uh-huh.
If they find you, you hear them before they hear you. Yep. And then we always put a guy there, but he was always awake. But once you got used to it. And this one night, we was in this area. We was in this building. A town had been taken that day, and there were still fires going on. And we stayed in this one building, and the wind came up, and the building caught fire. Now here we're inside the building with the dang place burning. So I hollered to the crew. We had a Ju-88, a German bomber, sort of I guess they're a bomber, or they strafe and everything.
Mm-hmm.
This bomber kept flying around, looking to the light. You could see the light from the fires. It was flying right around. And 5 of us are in this. We can't get out of the place because it's on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I hollered to the guys, "Don't look up," because when you look up, they get the reflection of the light off your face,
Mm-hmm.
and they can see. And this Ju-88 kept flying around, getting lower and lower and lower, and we're in there trying to dig in the cement, trying to get cover. You know? It's good. So never forget it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But it made this last pass and took off, and we were happy. I had a funny thing happen too. We moved in this town that had a lot of slave labor in it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of manufacturing. Germans have been making whatever. We moved into it, and we liberated the slave labor,
Mm-hmm.
the DPs.
Now, were they Jewish people?
There was everything. There was Polish. There was everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Men and women, and there were about 200. We figured about 200. And when we got there, we let them out. So,
Yeah.
and of course, gave them K-ration. Sure, they had.
Were they in pretty sad shape?
No, not particular. No, they was, they were always glad to see us.
Sure.
You know, and we let them out. And the closure where they were, they had them locked up. It was like a big pit, like.
Uh-huh.
And around this pit was a lot of German civilian houses. See, and when we let them loose, we let them go. All of them left except one little Polish guy. And he got up and started throwing rocks through his windows. Because you can imagine they were throwing garbage at him when he was
Sure.
locked up, see.
Sure.
So we let him have his fun for a while, and then finally we said, better stop.
Now, did you liberate any other camps at all, or concentration
No,
camps?
that was the only one.
Mm-hmm.
This little Polish guy, we eventually had to put him in a Jeep and took him out for 8 or 10 miles towards Poland and dropped him
Wow.
off.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned going into Dachau, though.
Yeah.
You want to tell us about that?
Well, Dachau, the war was over then,
Mhm.
just about over with then. And Muddy and I were headed cheap, and we'd heard about this concentration camp, and we went over, and the first thing once you come in on that lower end, there's a lot of boxcars, sidings. The bodies were piled up to high you could see on this boxcar, and we went in to all of the different buildings. Seemingly every building had something different. One of them, they had big barrels full of coins. Another would be shoes. Other would be clothing. And they just systematically was piled up. And I think, if I remember, there was one big pit in the center of it where they had buried hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't believe it, really. It kept going through my mind. How could a man, if he has children, how could he kill any other kid?
Mm.
It just didn't make sense.
Were there any German guards left there?
When we got there, they were all gone. Now, from the division, from my buddy, they said that a lot of the guards changed clothing with the inmates.
Mm-hmm.
This actually happened, and they got shot. They shot Americans, shot them for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it didn't. It was unreal, and it was a program set up too later on by Eisenhower, where it had the civilians had to walk them through to see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Now, you mentioned this was after the war. During the war, towards the end of the war, when President Roosevelt died, what was your reaction to that?
That was, I was in the foxhole, and they come out and told me we'd had a report. They'd seen something. Some of the guys. It's strange. We were in it was in a ammunition dump.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what the devil we were doing in there, I don't know. But here we are, we're in an ammunition dump. And then they had to saw somebody running somewhere or something. And so they put a big pit out in front of the company. They dug us down, and 4 of us were on guard duty down in this pit. And about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, the sergeant come out, heard crawling to come up. That pit must have been a couple sizes of this. When the sergeant come on and said Roosevelt just died, they got the report somewhere that Roosevelt had died. Of course, the Germans thought we're going to give up because our leaders are gone.
Yeah.
We heard that several times, but a lot of them expected, because the pictures you see of Rose, but you know he wasn't doing no good.
Now, where exactly were you when the war ended in Europe?
Stuttgart.
Stuttgart?
And that's a funny feeling. Very funny, because the birds, you can hear the birds.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can, and the guns and the flash, they go. They're gone. And you don't hear them, don't see them, don't say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's quiet.
Did you see a lot of Germans surrendering their weapons, or?
I didn't then, not so much. I remember a couple of towns we went to. The German Mausers were stacked up outside the buildings and stuff. And I told the guys, I says, you know, they counterattack. They're going to grab those guns. So we destroyed hundreds of them. Bent their barrels around a pole or something.
Yeah.
throw the bolt away. Them bolts match up, see,
Yeah.
and you throw the one away, they don't work.
Mhm.
But we did.
How were you treated by the civilians
Uh,
when the war ended?
this I thought myself, well, I used to tell the guys, look, treat them with respect.
Mhm.
Because I said, someday you're damn glad we got them. And it actually did happen.
Mhm.
From what I seen with the Russians, there was a consulate in there, and they never was very friendly at all.
Mhm.
Never, we waved to them, they didn't pay attention.
Now, was there much celebration when the war ended in Europe?
No,
No.
very quiet.
Yeah.
You couldn't, we just look at each other, and within 10 days, the Germans had their trolley cars going. And we used to ride the trolley cars. And I can remember, I was the only soldier on this trolley car with a bunch of German civilians. I was the only one in there.
Mhm.
And that's a funny feeling.
How did they react toward you?
Very quiet. They look at you. You catch them looking at you.
Uh-huh.
You out of the corner of your eye. They don't make eye contact really.
Hmm.
And I remember getting a double trolley car, two cars. The operator was up here and the conductor was back here. And I got on there and I walked up to the conductor. I'm going to pay. He wouldn't take any money.
Uh-huh.
He wouldn't take any money.
Hmm.
But that's a funny feeling. Being the only GI on the whole time. And I thought, well, now the best thing to do, we're going to dress nice, take good care of yourself,
Mhm.
show them impression,
Yeah.
you know. And they couldn't quite understand. They couldn't really understand how us. They used to say, you guys go buying cars, you go buying trucks, and you're got your feet way up here, all over here, or you're hanging out here or something. No military discipline whatsoever. They couldn't understand it. And we were never on time on our parades.
Uh-huh.
You probably heard that before.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now, was there any talk about you guys going to Japan at all?
Yeah. We in Stuttgart, where we were, we got reclassified. We got a physical again,
Mm-hmm.
and we were put in a certain class. And my job was they took over the Mercedes-Benz plant. My company took over the Mercedes-Benz plant, and this was strange, because Eisenhower let the French go in and take Stuttgart. 100th Division had Stuttgart surrounded,
Mm-hmm.
and we took over the Mercedes-Benz plant.
Yeah.
And then, like I say, Eisenhower let them in there. But what they were doing, they were taking all the machine tools,
Oh.
and that's what they wanted. A Mercedes-Benz plant. They were stripping all that. I got orders from the company with the company commander to move a couple of big 10-ton prime movers into Bad Concept, where the Mercedes-Benz plant was, to go in there. The French was on in there. Eisenhower told them to get out. They didn't get out. It took almost 10 days for to get the French out there.
Hmm.
We wanted to go in there. We wanted machine tools too.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And I moved in with the company commander and two big 10-ton prime movers, and the French was in that plant. And I can remember the company came in, they couldn't find the plant. It was it was dark. And finally, we got into the plant, and we was right in there with the French. We were scared.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know what they were going to do. They didn't know what we were going to do. And we were in there 3, 4, 5 days. But eventually the French got out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we were up for the Croix de Guerre, the French citation.
Yeah.
We never got it. I think that's part of the reason, because we had to head out. Where's the event plan? Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when did you end up heading back to the States?
Well, I got shipped up to Heidelberg
Mm-hmm.
on detached service to set up an army a pool there. And I was up there most of the summer. I was there when they dropped the atomic bomb.
Oh, okay.
I was down. They dropped the atomic bomb, and they come out in the Stars and Stripes. We used to get the paper.
Yeah.
And it's funny. The guys were quiet then too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were quiet that time. No celebration or anything.
Hmm.
They were just they knew they were going home.
Yeah. So when did you go home?
I transferred over into 36th Division. I'm a High Point man. They usually have been took all the High Point men, and they transferred them into 36.
Uh-huh.
And I come home with them. Went right back the same route I come up in, right up through up the Rhone Valley, into Marseille, and I got a victory ship there
Mm-hmm.
with 1,500 of us in a victory ship.
And when did you get home?
Around first week in December.
December
Yeah.
45.
Yeah, 45.
And whereabouts did you get discharged from?
Camp Dix.
Dix?
I was at Kilmer. I was at the line there in Kilmer, and I happened to look up, and there's a fellow I knew when I was on Sky School.
Oh. So you made it home for Christmas then?
I go home for Christmas.
Now, how long had it been since you'd seen your family?
Oh, it was almost 2 years,
Yeah.
something like that.
And how did you get home? Did you take the train or hitchhike or?
Let's see. For Kilmer, I took a train over from from Trenton, I think, from Trenton over to New York, and then from there, no. And I went to work the next day for my dad.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And what type of work?
Dad had a meat market right down here
Oh.
in Margot. Yeah.
Now, so you didn't take advantage of like that 5220 club?
Yeah, I was in there. I was on there 52. That's the only thing I did take.
Okay.
Didn't take unemployment or none of that.
Did you make use of the GI Bill at all?
I was gonna take the GI Bill and go to Cornell University,
Mm-hmm.
and but I changed my mind. I'd been away from home for so long
Uh-huh.
that I said no. I didn't go to college.
Okay. Did you use the GI Bill to buy a home or anything?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I did it in Fort Lauderdale,
Okay.
and we lived in it 3 months, and we gave it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Now, when did you get married?
I was married before I went in.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah.
And did you have any children while you were away or after?
I had one boy was born on D-Day.
Oh, really? Wow.
D-Day.
That must have been really hard on your wife,
Yeah.
you overseas. And whereabouts was she?
She was here with her mother and father.
Okay.
Yeah. It's quite an experience. I don't know. It's how these wars start.
Yeah.
Seems like every 20 years
Yeah.
somebody got to go through something, I guess.
Now, you mentioned you stayed in contact with some of the guys, and you
Yeah.
belong to the 100th
Yeah.
Infantry Division
I got-
Association.
I
You
got
want-
a picture of it.
Yeah, you want to show us some of the pictures you got?
Let's see if I can.
Okay, if you want to hold that
Yeah.
up right in front of you.
Here's the guys I was with. We get ready to go home. We're just gonna leave Stuttgart.
Now, whereabouts are you in that picture?
I happen to be right there with my jacket open.
Okay, let me just point to. Oh, that's you right there.
Right
Okay.
there. Yeah. This was taken right there in Stuttgart,
Okay.
and I was gonna leave from there. All was gonna leave to go to the 36th Division.
Okay. And you've got some other photos there?
Let's see. That's the duplication. Here's one of taken when we went over here about 6 years ago with the Army reunion.
Oh, these are reenactors?
Yeah, these are French civilians in American uniforms that duplicate. Where they had a Jeep, they had a 3/4 ton Dodge, and 2.5 ton truck.
Now, all those fellows in the background, are all those guys you served with?
No, he was part of the 100th Division. The guys here,
Okay,
yeah. This was taken inside the building,
all right.
yeah. Here's my buddy.
And what's his name?
Beetler. Yeah, I always call him Beetler. And he's from down in Pennsylvania. We were about, I think we're about less than 100 miles.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And you've got a nice big photo of you in uniform, too.
Yeah, oh yeah. This was taken in Miami, Florida. I down to see my mother and dad.
Okay. And when was that taken, approximately?
Oh, that must have been taken in, let's see, October, I think.
Of 45? Or, I mean, of
40,
43, was it?
43.
Okay,
Yeah, it's got to be 43.
okay.
Let's see if I can.
Oh, yeah, tell us about the,
This is unusual here. This captured American flag, or
German flag.
German flag. That flag, I moved into with a bunch of guys, for 4 or 5 of us, to pick a billeting area. And while I was looking around, I see this building,
Mm-hmm.
that big glass door in the front, and I can look in and I can see this flag was on this over covered a blackboard.
Uh-huh.
Must have been a German school or something, with all kinds of paraphernalia there. And I looked at it. I didn't dare to open the door because I didn't know I was booby-trapped or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't touch it. Now this thing ended up, some fella found it in a museum in Rochester, New York. I think what happened, a buddy back later, and then they took the flag off. They brought it back to the company, and everybody
signed it?
signed it.
Yeah.
And I've checked off the ones I knew that that was with the company, and it's funny how that thing worked out. And this was he was Polnar, Walter Polnar. He's from over in Connecticut. He's dead now. And he eventually put his name on there. All these ones I crossed here, their names are on that flag.
Okay.
Now, I haven't been in touch with, when this thing come up, I haven't been in touch with anyone from the company on this thing. But there's a fellow that wrote a letter to it. He wanted more information, so I'm going to correspond with him.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how funny how it works out. Yeah.
Now, how do you think your time in the service changed or affected your life?
I don't know. I think I got more respect for the individual from what I've seen, what I know guys are capable of doing,
Mm-hmm.
and the different pressures they have to go through, especially in a wartime like this.
Mm-hmm.
The American soldier is a hell of a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they take things so easy under certain situations. They always can find a joke, always find something,
Uh-huh.
something funny. Yeah, and I have a lot of respect for the American soldier.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add in the final moments?
No, I think I've shut my mouth.
Oh, no, you did an excellent job. It was very interesting.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank-
I've been wanting to. I would want to do this. I'm always concerned from what you see on television, where these slave labor camps never existed. It was very true.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything comes out of this, and this makes sure that people will be able to lie and get away with it.
Right. No, everyone knows they existed. That's for sure.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again
Okay,
for your interview.
Thank you very much.